right, let's do this handout together. Problem number 1, please pause the video, do the problem, and then play it when you're done. Okay, so hopefully you went to function f because of this f here. And it's f of x is equal to 4, I'm going to change minus 6 to plus a negative 6 times the quantity x plus 3. And then I'm going to substitute a negative 2 for x here. So f of negative 2, which means I'm going to substitute a negative 2 for x here. Right? And then I'm just going to simplify this side. So I could use the distributive property, but negative 2 plus 3 is 1. So let's just do that. So negative 6 times 1. So I got 4 plus negative 6. So f of negative 2 is equal to negative 2. How'd you know? Let's hope you did great. I'm going to say good job. I bet you got that one right. Problem number 2, please pause the video. Give it a try. Just hit play when you're done. So we're going to be using h of x this time is equal to x over 3 plus 4 over 6. Now they want h of 3, so I'm going to erase the x here and change h of x into h of 3, which means I'm going to erase the x here and insert a 3. So 3 over 3 is just 1. So I could replace it with a 1, but then I'd have to find a common denominator anyway. So I might just multiply numerator and denominator by 2, and I get h of 3 is equal to 6 over 6 plus 4 over 6. So h of 3 is equal to 10 sixths. And of course we're going to simplify 10 sixths. 10 is 2 times 5. 6 is 2 times 3. So we can cancel a 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And we get 5/3. So h of 3 is equal to 5/3. All right, pause the video. Give number 3 a try. Number 3, we're looking for j of 8, so I'm going to go get function j. So j of x is equal to 1 minus 2x all divided by 5. And j of 8 means I'm going to substitute an 8 for x. Since they put an 8 where the x goes here in the function notation, I'm going to put an 8 where the x goes in the expression. So I get 1 minus 2 times 8 divided by 5. So j of 8 is equal to 1. I'm going to change minus to plus a negative. 2 times 8 is 16 over 5. 1 plus negative 16, that's going to be negative 15 over 5. So j of 8 is going to be equal to negative 3. All right, number 4. Give number 4 a try. Pause the video. Don't just watch me do it. You can't learn that way. You got to try it yourself and then see if you did it right. Especially now. This is our 3rd handout, basically just like this. Now you should be doing them on your own and then checking your answers. So g of 6, g of x is equal to 3 plus x squared. I'm going to replace x with a negative 6. So g of negative 6, which means I'm going to replace this x with a negative 6. And since x is squared, the negative 6 is squared. So g of negative 6 is equal to 3 plus negative 6 times negative 6. That's what squared means, right? 2 factors that are the same. So we have g of negative 6 is equal to 3 plus positive 36. So my answer is going to be 39. All right, let's look at number 5. Find f of x. Oh, find x if f of x is 6x minus 14. All right, so I'm going to start by getting f of x because that's what they told me to use. So I'm going to change minus 6 to plus a negative 6 times the quantity x plus 3. Everybody with me? And now they're saying that f of x is equal to 6x plus 14. So I'm not replacing the x. I'm replacing the f of x. I'm going to replace that with 6x minus 14, or plus a negative 14. Okay, I'm going to distribute the 6 over here, or negative 6, and I have 4 plus negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. And on this side is already fully simplified. I've got 3 terms over here, so let's combine our like terms. So I got negative 14 plus negative 6x is equal to 6x plus negative 14. All right, I've got terms with a variable on both sides of the equal sign, so that's the first thing I want to deal with. So to get rid of these 6 negative x's, I'm going to add 6 positive x's to both sides. And negative 6x plus positive 6x, those eliminate each other, and they're 0. And on this side, 6x plus 6x is 12x, plus negative 14 equals negative 14. All right, so now I'm going to get rid of the negative 14 by adding a positive 14. So I get 12x is equal to, well, a negative 14 plus a positive 14 is 0. Now, some students freak out when they get 0 here. No need to freak out. You still have an x. So this is not one of our special situations. This is not no solution. This is not all real numbers. We can still divide both sides by 12. If I have nothing and I share it with 12 of my closest friends, each one of my friends will get nothing. So that is my answer. X equals 0. All right, let's look at number 6. They're talking about h of 6, so or h of x. So let's go get it. H of x is equal to x over 3 plus 4 over 6. So now they're not telling me what number to substitute for x. I'm not erasing the x. I'm erasing h of x because they told me this whole thing, h of x is equal to 6. So I'm going to take the h of x out, and I'm going to replace it with a 6, and now I need to solve this. Now, back before winter break, we talked about a way to deal with equations that have fractions in them, to clear those fractions out. Do you remember how to do that? So if we have a 3 in the denominator, if we multiply the numerator by 3, do you agree that those 3's will cancel? And whenever we multiply an equation, it has to be every term both sides. So I'm going to multiply every term both sides so I can cancel this 3 out, and I don't have to worry about x over 3. I just have an x now. And here, this 6, I know this 6 factors to 2 times 3. So it's going to cancel this 3 too, but I'd love to get rid of the 2. So let's go ahead and multiply by a factor of 2 every term both sides. And then this 2 will cancel this 2. So in one fell swoop, we have eliminated all of our fractions, and we have no fractions left. Let me show you what's left here. So 2 times 3 times 6 is 36. Here the 3's canceled, but the 2 didn't. So 2 times x is 2x. And here the 2 canceled and the 3 canceled, so the only thing left is 4. So I changed this equation that had all of these fractions in it into this equation. I've got 2 terms, so I'm going to get rid of that positive 4 by adding a negative 4. And I get 2x is equal to 32. Divide both sides by 2. And I get x is equal to 16. All right, let's look at problem number 7. Please pause it, give it a try on your own. Okay, so they're asking about h of x. So let's go get that function. H of x is equal to, oh, it's this fractiony one again, 4 over 6. And they're saying h of x is 3 halves, so I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to replace it with 3 halves. Yeah, and I'm going to do the same thing. You notice in the denominator I have a 2, a 3, and a 6. So if I multiply every term by 2, and I multiply every term by 3, could you multiply every term by 6? Of course you could. But it's easier to see what cancels and what remains when you multiply by the 2 and the 3 separately. But you do get a ton of numbers, so if you're messy, talking to you, Rashad, you might want to use a 6. So the 3's cancel, and the 2's cancel. Here the 3 cancels, and here the 2 cancels. So for this term right here, the denominator is a 1, and the numerator is 3 times 3, so that's 9. Here, This 3 cancels this 3, but I still have a 2 times x, so that's 2x. And here, everything cancels but the 4. So we changed this equation with all these fractions into this equation. We're going to add a negative 4 to both sides. And I get 2x is equal to 5. Divide both sides by 2, and we have a fraction. So x is equal to 5/2. All right, problem number 8. Pause the video, give it a try on your own. All right, so we're going to go get fraction g of x is equal to 3 plus x squared. Now they're telling me what g of x is equal to, so I'm going to erase not just the x, but all of g of x and replace it with what it's equal to, which is 84. I got 2 terms over here, so let's get rid of those 3 positive ones by adding 3 negative ones. And I get 81 is equal to x squared. The inverse of x squared, or the inverse of squaring, is square root. So the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 81 is 9, or it could be negative 9. Remember, when we take the square root of both sides, we get 2 answers, 9 or negative 9. All right, problem number 9. Pause it. Give it a try. Come on back when you're done. Okay, so we're looking for f of x. I hope you realize we're getting all of these equations from right across the top here. I didn't say that, but it is our 3rd handout, so hopefully you realized when I said go get f of x, I meant come right up here. So the letter is telling you whether you're using this function, this one, or this one. All right, let's go back down to number 9. So number 9, we've got f of x is equal to 4 plus a negative 6 times x plus 3, the quantity x plus 3. Now they're saying that f of x is equal to 4, so I'm going to erase this and put in a 4. I can distribute that negative 6, and I get 4 is equal to 4 plus negative 6x plus negative 18. I'm going to combine my like terms. So I get 4 is equal to negative 14 plus 6x. I'm going to get rid of the 1's by adding 14 positive ones. And I get 18 is equal to 6x. Divide both sides by 6. And x is equal to 3. Or 3 is equal to x, either way. All right, problem number 10, our last problem. Dig deep, pause it, do it yourself. Trust me, it's so much better for learning this. All right, j of x. I go up top, and I see that j of x is this guy. So j of x is equal to 1. I'm going to change minus 2x to plus a negative 2x, all divided by 5. J of x is equal to 3, so I'm going to take all of j of x out, the entire function notation, and I'm just going to replace it with a 3. All right, do you remember how to do these? We haven't done these in a while. So this long division bar implies parentheses. So the 1 is being divided by 5, and the 2 negative x's are being divided by 5. And since everything's being divided by 5, I can get rid of that 5 by doing the inverse of dividing, or multiplying. I have to multiply every term by 5, but this is all one big term, right? These 2 terms are not separate. They are all tied together. So I only multiply the 5 once. So this 5 cancels this 5, and I get 1 plus negative 2x is equal to 5 times 3, which is 15. I'm going to add a negative 1 to both sides, and I get 14 is equal to negative 2x. Divide both sides by negative 2, and I get x is equal to negative 7. Congratulations, you're done! Hopefully you got this now. I'm excited to see your quiz race on Friday. The quiz problems are going to be very similar to these 2 handouts that we did this week. So if you were getting these right, or if you got them wrong, but now you think you understand them, then hopefully you're in good shape. Thanks for sticking with it.